Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll. So today, and it's a little bit early, but it was just about a year ago that I launched this podcast. This is episode 53, I want to say. And that's a BFD. Podcasting is a lot. I had wanted to do a podcast. I don't know. I had been blogging for years, and blogging is blogging, and it's certainly a valuable piece of content creation, but I wanted to try something different. So I really wanted to launch a podcast because I felt like I would reach more people and I don't know. I just got in my head that I wanted to start a podcast. So I did. And I really need to shout out my podcast manager, Liz Chapman, who is my saving grace. She holds me accountable. She helped me launch this. She kept me to a timeline. I could not be this far into my podcasting without her. And for reals, if I didn't have her managing it behind the scenes, doing all the uploading, the editing, all that fun stuff, it probably would have died after 5 episodes. So thank you, Liz. So today I'm kind of doing a little bit of a personal reflection and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the lessons that I've had in showing up consistently. And I'm also going to pull some numbers because what have I gotten from podcasting? Well, I have certainly gotten clients from it who have reached out to me because of the podcast. And I'm so excited. It was last month, I got 2 new clients just from the podcast, which any sort of organic piece of content is going to take time. Organic content, whether it's podcast, whether it's a blog, whether it's YouTube, is a long game. And consistency, as I've learned, is what breeds growth. And I say this a lot for my social media clients, is that consistency breeds growth. So when you choose to do something like start a podcast or start a YouTube channel, you are buying into that level of consistency. I started my podcast because I wanted to do something different. I wanted that visibility. I wanted to be held accountable to show up each week for myself. We as entrepreneurs tend to put our own marketing on the back burner, especially if you're a creative entrepreneur, like social media manager, agency owner, graphic designer, whatever it is. You tend to put your own marketing on the back burner. Me podcasting every week, -1, I did not podcast the week between Christmas and New Year's. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break that week. Really, really is a trial of discipline. It has not always been easy, but we'll get into that. It was an opportunity for me to build a consistent thought leadership outlet and, keep my creative juices, out there. doing the thing. My audience is certainly entrepreneurs. It's other creative entrepreneurs. And I just wanted to, when I launched this, when I thought what's my why? Because before you launch anything, before you do anything in your business, whether you're launching a new service, whether you're starting a new marketing campaign, you have to understand the why. So it was that hurdle, getting over that hurdle. I wanted to share actionable marketing takeaways for entrepreneurs. And I know many of my listeners personally, and they've told me that they learned things in my podcast or by listening to my podcast. And that is so rewarding to me because I know that not every entrepreneur has the resources to outsource their marketing to me. Marketing shouldn't be overwhelming, but it is for so many business owners. It is overwhelming. It's overwhelming whether you're whether you have that creative block of I don't know what to post, or whether you're intimidated by showing up on video. whatever it is, like putting your pen to paper and writing a blog post, or, oh my God, that perfectionism that so many of us have, I created this podcast to help business owners get over that overwhelm. And, that's my whole thing with why I'm in business is I want to remove the overwhelm of marketing for business owners. Whether you outsource your social media to me, whether you work with me to create a strategy, whether I help overcome some of those blocks in, a 90-day consulting, or whether you join my group consulting program that's launching at the end of this month to learn how to get over those barriers that are holding back your marketing. That is my why. Because when we market ourselves, we all win. Your business is not going to succeed unless you market yourself. And how you do that is up to you. And if you don't know what's going to resonate with your audience, or who your audience even is, or where you should be, those are roadblocks that so many business owners have. And I hope through this podcast that I have given insights that help you think a little bit critically and, do a little internal searching about your own marketing and how you can be better. So let's talk lessons in consistency. Consistency is a muscle. It is not a mindset. Failing to plan, this is so cliche. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I will say that until I die. It has come full circle. I say it to my clients. I say it, I've said it for years since I've been in marketing. Most of my career has been in marketing. But if you fail to plan your marketing, whether it's your social media content calendar, whether it's something else, you are planning to fail. You're not going to show up. The things that have helped me was really, like I said, the accountability of my podcast manager. Like, she keeps me 2 weeks in advance. Like, if I'm not 2 weeks in advance, like, girl, we're not publishing. Because that trickles down to her. So I make sure to get her my episode either Wednesday, usually Wednesday, unless I'm like super overwhelmed and have all the things going on. And then it's Thursday. If I know that there's like, I'm going to be out of town, like I know that next week, because we're out of town for spring break, like next week I got to record 2 episodes. I got to find time to do that. Like, that's on me. But batching, accountability, I try to plan episodes. AI is really good to plan out your content, to ideate, if you will. It's really, really helpful. Those 3 things are what has helped me stay consistent, because it's kind of a muscle. It's not even a mindset. Like, if we think about our marketing mindset, like, when I think about a mindset, it's something like someone out there needs to hear what I am saying. There is someone out there for everyone, even though us social media managers are a dime a dozen these days, and I have all of the imposter syndrome that varies from one day to the next. That's a mindset. Getting over the mindset thing is certainly a challenge here, but consistency is a muscle. And you make the time. My business coach, she tells everyone, if you're not scheduling your priorities, they are not your priorities. So I make it a point to block off an hour every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, to write my show notes and record my episode. That's my consistency. So it's a muscle. It's a habit. You've got to put in the work. The next lesson that I've learned is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And I say that so often. I have worked in the past with clients who literally, like, the edits that they come back to us for reels is like, this is an 8-second video. You are literally talking about 1 second edit. I don't think that anyone's going to notice that. When you let perfect be the enemy of good, you are holding yourself back. And if you're not launching, your content, whether it's a podcast, whether it's your YouTube, whatever it is, we're just going to go with podcasts here because we're talking about my lessons in podcasting. You're only hurting yourself, by not posting the reel, by not publishing the episode, by not launching the thing, you're only hurting yourself. And I struggle with this so much. I struggle with this, especially in my own social media. Like, the hardest thing for me in social media, and it's for myself and it's for my clients, is I overthink the graphics. that's a little deep for me to share. Like I feel like I'm getting naked with you all. I'm being really vulnerable here and just sharing my flaws, but like I overthink the graphics. And so my business coach, bless her, I love her. And even Lauren Najar, who I recently worked with for lead gen coaching, told me to get out of my own way. So like I stopped micromanaging the content that my content creators were putting up, and it has given me hours back in my week. By just like trusting some of my content creators, like, hey, with this client, like you can just send it to the client. Like I don't need to look at it. I'll look at it, but like I trust that you know this content, you know the brand, you know the client, like you've been working with them for 2 years, just send it. I don't need to get in my own head about like, oh, I have this vision for this post and let me recreate it. Let me redo your work. Like that's kind of an asshole thing, right? That was a lesson that I had to learn because I am very much a perfectionist, and there have been episodes that I've thought of that I'm like, oh, I don't want to say that. I'm not knowledgeable enough. I don't have experience in that, blah, 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 whatever it was. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Next lesson. Have a system. So when I launched my podcast, I worked with Liz on my launch, and she has a system for everything. Like she had it all mapped out, every step that I needed to do, what she was going to do, what I was going to do, what the graphic designer was going to do for the podcast logo, all of that stuff helped me launch. Like I could not have done that without her because there are so many steps. And because she now manages my podcast, like she has tools. We use Airtable and I map out my episodes. I try to map out a couple months at a time. That way I know like the topics that I'm going to be doing. When it comes to me recording, and then in Airtable, like I tell her when it's been recorded, I send the link to the episode, and then she lets me know that it's been edited, and then I drop the link for the show notes. So Airtable is what we use. I don't use Airtable for really anything else. That's just me. But that tool, and this kind of goes to show, like, I'm not going to impart, like, on someone that I'm outsourcing to my own systems. Like, I sometimes use, I'm really terrible. Because of my probably undiagnosed ADHD, I am like a project management junkie. I have used ClickUp, I have used Notion, I have used Trello, and depending on which day of the week, I might find something else and I might try it, and then it'll go dead for like weeks. Most consistently, I use either Trello or Notion. I kind of got away from ClickUp. I just found ClickUp really overwhelming. I know lots of people love it. It just wasn't, my brain couldn't get it to work for me. But Notion is where like all of my clients have like I call it my client Bibles. And they each have their own page. They have links to all the things that my content creators need. And I tend to put, content ideas in there. It's so, so helpful. So, have systems for planning, have systems for publishing, whatever you need. Make sure that there's a workflow because that holds you accountable. Typically, like for 15, 20 minutes before I record, like if I have an idea, I typically leave that idea in Airtable. That way I know to go back to it. Or I will tell ChatGPT like, hey, here's my podcast title. Here are the key points that I want to hit on. Can you create an outline? Because otherwise I'll just ramble. And that's like my own workflow, how I record. I use Descript to record my podcast. I was using Zoom, but Zoom video quality, because sometimes I upload them to YouTube when I actually remember and have time to like edit the actual video. I use Descript to record it. I also just as like an editing platform. And, Liz, probably different podcast managers probably have different video or audio editing software that they prefer. But for a video editing platform, I really like Descript. I also really like recording my podcast here because I can export the audio to send to my podcast manager and keep the video. And the video can, they have this whole AI thing on Descript where it'll pull clips for you. So it's kind of fun like that. So those are kind of my systems that I use to keep me accountable. And whether it's a podcast, whether it's social media, have a content calendar management system, whatever you use, whether it's a whether it's a sheet in Notion or ClickUp or an Excel spreadsheet, like have a content calendar management there, like just to like keep your dates and your episodes, your blog post titles, whatever it is. Have a way to like know like, oh, this is due this date, all that kind of fun stuff. Like have some sort of tool that you track your topics and all of that fun stuff. When you don't always feel motivated, because sometimes like there are days that I'm not motivated to record and I don't feel like I have anything to say. I am reminded, and I think to the clients that I've brought on because of my podcast, I think of the feedback that I've gotten from people in my network who listen regularly. And I think about the impact that it's had on my website, the opportunities that I've gotten, the impact that it's had on my social media audience, my LinkedIn audience, and to just put into perspective. And I remember sharing this with Liz last year. So I'm not gonna lie, like my website does not get a lot of traffic in comparison to probably other social media managers who probably get thousands of hits per day. Like I'm talking like hundreds of hits per month. I did used to have a blog that would get thousands of hits per month, which was great. So looking at April 2024 over April 2023, I had 132% growth in traffic each month until October. And October was a hot mess month for me. And I can't remember why. Probably because I did like Facebook advertising in October 2023 versus October 2024. I was like in September, I was 412% growth. November was 316% growth. And December was like 13% growth. Like I have grown at least 50% every single month since I launched my podcast. And even still looking at Q1, I was up 200+% over 2024. February, I was up 120% over 2024. And in March, I was 106% up over 2024. So I set traffic goals for myself. I'm very much like an analytics kind of person, and I track my revenue and all of that kind of fun stuff. Like my revenue is definitely down over 2024, but I've also made a shift, and I think that I will still be able to meet my revenue goals, hopefully for the end of this year. We'll see. We'll have to shift going into like Q3, Q4, even the rest of Q2. I knew that April was going to be a slower month. And this is a little bit of business planning, which we recently talked about. So I'm not going to talk too much, but like April, I know like, hey, I have an event. I'm on vacation for a week, and actually like thinking about my capacity for work because of those two big things, like I'm kind of booked. I could maybe take a strategy day, like a strategy session, strategy VIP days. We're looking at May, possibly even June. So I'm thinking about my margins and my time management. I am notorious for overcommitting and just being, oh yeah, of course I can get that to you. So when I think about the days when I'm like, oh God, I don't want to record, because those days happen. They happen for all of us, right? I think about the results that I've gotten since then, since I launched a year ago, like the results that I've gotten. So just some wins that I've had, aside from the clients, we're hitting almost 8,000 episodes downloaded so far, which is amazing. I'd love to hit 10,000 by the end of Q1. So be sure to share with your friends and leave a review, all the things that you do for content that you love. I've certainly grown in just, there's a certain confidence that you have to have when you record a podcast. Like you got to know what you're talking about, right? And there are definitely days when I'm like, did that sound okay? I don't know if you listened to the episode from last week, but my cats were like crawling all over me and I was not here for it. It was a huge distraction and I probably sounded like a hot mess. My email list has grown, and I've also just like invested more in my own lead generation. I have put myself out there for speaking opportunities. I'm speaking at an event, or I spoke at an event. By the time this goes live, I'm speaking April 9th at a local networking group. And, that's a BFD. Like I've led workshops to like rooms of like 15, 20, 30 people. But to speak in front of a room of most of those people I often know, but to speak in front of a room of 50 to 60 people who I don't really know is next level. And it is so far out of my comfort zone. And that the imposter syndrome that I've overcome through my podcast, I see a lot of social media managers, especially around in my area. And some of them just like blatantly copy people. And I'm not here for it. And, my whole mission is to help remove the overwhelm of marketing for business owners and also to help them show up authentically. Everything that I do on this podcast, the good, the bad, the ugly, mind you, is 100% authentic, 100% me. If I don't know something, or if I don't know how to do something because I'm not an expert in all things marketing, I have done all of the things because as marketing generalist, when you're a marketing manager, you have to have your hands in everything, whether it's lead gen, whether it's building automations, whether it's building funnels, whether it's running Google ads or Facebook ads or email marketing, whatever it is, I have done all of it. I've done all of it. I have created campaigns that have resulted in, almost $1 million of revenue. I have won awards. I've written blog posts that have gone viral. I have created reels that have gone viral. I've done everything. And having that well-rounded experience in my career has kind of led me to where I am because yes, I focus on social media and email marketing now, and that's what I talk about here on the podcast. But having an understanding about how every piece of your marketing plays into your strategy and how it impacts your business makes me different. And a lot of the other social media marketers out there don't have that kind of strategic insight into how social media really impacts your business. It's more than just showing up with pretty flippant pictures, my friends. It is more than just putting out fun reels. You want impact. I had a client tell this mastermind that I'm in that, a post that we put out, it was largely written by her. I edited it for social, but it was a $15,000 post. It did not have all of the engagement. And yes, we can look at the likes and the follows that we get from our social media and use it as validation that what we're doing is impactful. But ultimately, the posts where you actually talk about what you do, they're not going to be the ones that get the most likes. The ones where you actually sell your services and say, this is how I help you, those aren't going to be the ones. And me being on here and reminding other business owners about that is so rewarding to me. And that is the biggest win. Helping my audience be more thoughtful and consistent and confident in their marketing, that's what this is all about. And that's what I've learned. That's my biggest lesson. So if I can go back to day one, what would I do differently? I don't know that I'd do anything differently. I mean, maybe I'd be better about researching some of my topics before I talk about them. But also, my whole thing recently is do it messy. Just do it. If you're waiting for something perfect, the perfect idea, if you're waiting for the perfect client, if you're waiting for the perfect podcast name, literally the name of my podcast was holding me back for so many years. So many years. The name of my podcast, what am I going to name this thing? This group consulting program, consider it like a marketing masterclass. The name of it was holding me back from doing it. And so finally I was like, I'm doing it messy. You know what it is? Social Media Marketing Made Simple, a masterclass, which is really what I do. I make social media marketing simple for entrepreneurs. Stop overthinking things. Just start. If you are thinking, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a blog, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a podcast, whatever content you want to put out there to the world, there is someone that needs to hear from you. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Just start. Do it messy. So in closing, thank you for being a part of my journey, for listening, for downloading, for sharing. I would love to have you all connect with me on social. Tell me your favorite takeaway. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned listening to the podcast over the past year? In the next year, going into year 2, I'm going to bring on some more guests. Obviously, I have some that I have in mind. I'd love to do a series with like clients of mine, like testimonials. We'll see. That maybe we'll do that over the summer. But if there's anything that you'd like to hear or you'd like to learn about, please, please, please send me a note. Send me an email, Heidi@HeidiJSchmidt.com. That's my email. You can reach me. Leave a review, share the show, join the mailing list on the website, www.HeidiJSchmidt.com. I'm going to try to get better. One of the things that I'm going to do, and I do this for a client of mine, is I want to send out my podcast every single week. And I want to see how that impacts my downloads. I like to do little like experiments on myself before I like roll them out to clients. So I'll be back. And in May, I am going to share the results of how a LinkedIn newsletter does. I'm going to launch that this April sometime. So maybe end of May, early June. So if you're thinking about doing a LinkedIn newsletter, like stay tuned. We're going to talk about it eventually. Okay. Until next time, go forward, create amazing content that stops the scroll and stop overthinking.